Here's adding and subtracting radicals part 2. We have this example, 2 square roots of 48 minus 3 square roots of 27. You can't add them as they are because they're not considered alike. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to try and reduce down those two radicals. So I'm going to start with the square root of 48. You could start with dividing that number by 2. You can maybe try and divide it by 3 or by 4 and try to break it down to so you have it in prime numbers. So I'm just going to start with 4. So 4 divides into 48 12 times. Then it would go 4 times 4 times 3 because 4 times 3 is 12. Now notice what you have is a pair. So you can bring that out in front. And then your leftovers are your 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply the 2 and the 4 in front, which is 8, and then square roots of 3. All right, now let's move on to the second term. We're going to break down 27. 27 doesn't divide into 2, so let's try 3. So 3 times 9 is 27. And then we'll break down 9 again as 3 squared. So remember, this 3 squared can pop out as a 3, and then you have your leftover of square root of 3. Now let's go ahead and multiply in the front. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. All right, so now we've done the reducing or simplifying all those radicals. Now let's see if they are alike terms. They're considered like radicals because they have the same index, or both square roots, and the same radicand of 3. So now you take 8 minus 9 is negative 1, and then the square root of 3 comes along for the ride. Let's go to G. 2 square roots of 50 plus 12 square roots of 8. Let's break down 50 as 25 times 2. And then 25 is the same thing as 5 squared. 5 times 5 is 25. So what comes out is this 5. And then you have the 2 left over. So now let's go ahead and multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Square roots of 2. All right, heading over to the other radical. I'm going to break down 8 as 4 times 2. And then 4 can be rewritten as 2 squared. So what pops out is this 2. So I have 12 times 2, and then a leftover of 2. 12 times 2 is 24, square roots of 2. Now let's see if we have like radicals. We do. We have the square root of 2 plus the square root of 2. So you add their coefficients. 10 plus 24 is 34. And then the square root of 2 comes along for the ride. All right, now what we have are some variables underneath our radicals. So let's see if they're alike. We have the square root of xy, the square root of xy, the square root of xy. All of them are alike, so we can go ahead and add their coefficients. 3 plus 2 plus 6. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 6 is 11, and then the xy with the square root comes along for the ride. Go down to the second example. We have a square root of x, square root of x, square root of x. They're all alike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw a 1 in front of that. Now, if they get to be too many, just go ahead and say negative 6 plus 7 minus 1. Those are your coefficients. And then the radical comes along for the ride. Now, negative 6 plus 7 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0 square roots of x. 0 square roots of x is 0.